Hello everyone, it's Alex Wilson again, accredited mental health social worker and owner of Mindful Recovery Services in Avoca Beach, New South Wales. Thank you for joining me again. So this is Radical Acceptance Part 2. If you haven't already, go and watch Radical Acceptance Part 1. The title is Radical Acceptance 101. In there I talk about what is radical acceptance and why we want to try and radically accept some things. Okay, in this vlog, I'm going to talk about, okay, so how do we do it, right? Yeah, Alex, I get it. I get the concept and I know why I might want to do it, but how do I actually do it? So, understanding that radical acceptance is a skill, okay? It is not like a light switch where we just go, bing, I now accept everything and I'm all zen and nothing bothers me, okay? That's not realistic for most of us anyways. So, radical acceptance is a skill. And like any skill, we need to work at developing it. And to start with, it feels really hard and clunky and difficult. And as we do it more and more and more intentionally, it gets a little easier and we get better at it. Okay, so don't expect yourself to suddenly, radically accept everything and be at peace with everything. It doesn't work like that. It's probably a lifelong practice for all of us, okay? There's going to be things along the way that crop up that we're not going to want to accept and that are going to cause us a lot of stress, and we'll come back to, okay, maybe I should apply this skill and work on this. And some things are going to be more difficult than others. There might be small things that you want to start with that are a little easier to radically accept, and then there might be some really big things that carry a lot of emotion with them that are much, much, much harder to radically accept. Okay. And of course, radical acceptance is a choice, right? You're the only one who can decide whether you want to try and radically accept something. It's nobody else's right to say to you, you have to accept this. Your choice. But there is a trade-off, right? If you don't accept something that is reality and that you can't change, there's a trade-off for that. It might cause you some stress. It might cause you some suffering, but entirely up to you. And people say to me sometimes, yeah, Alex, like I get it and I can get why this would be helpful, but I don't want to radically accept that. Cool. That's fine. Don't. Totally up to you. But just be aware of, what the trade-off is, okay? So, yep, I'm going to choose to have some stress around this because I really don't want to try and radically accept it yet, and that's fine. So it's totally up to you. But if you decide that you do want to try and radically accept something because it's causing you a lot of stress, then here's the steps to go through to try and do that, okay? So the first step, like with all skills, is becoming aware of when we're not accepting. Okay, if I don't know when I'm not accepting, it's going to be very hard to intervene. So first of all, I need to get aware of when I'm not accepting, what does it feel like and what does it sound like? Now, sometimes not accepting is very obvious because it's with another person. Let's say, for example, I'm having an argument with my mum. Okay, and say, no, sorry, mum, if you're watching this, like we don't argue a lot, but this isn't actually about my mum, but it's just an example. If me and my mum were having an argument and she was saying, no, I think this, blah, 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 and I'm saying, no, I feel differently, I think this, and I'm arguing with her and I'm trying to convince her to see things my way, but it's not working, right? This is an outward example of not accepting, right? Now, if I decide I don't want the stress of this argument, I might just go, all right, cool, got it. Like, I don't have to agree with her, but I can say, all right, we'll agree to disagree, and that's your view, and I'm going to accept that, and I'm going to stop changing your mind or trying to change your mind, okay? So that would be a way to move towards radical acceptance. I'm not going to try and change your mind anymore because it's not working. That's fairly easy to do. Okay, so if you find yourself in a lot of those arguments, noticing when I'm in the argument, being able to pause and say, all right, maybe I'm going to accept that I'm not going to change this person's mind, I'm not going to convince them of my point of view, and I'm just going to let it go and focus on something else. Have another conversation, do something else, put my energy elsewhere, okay? The trickier things to bring radical acceptance to are actually when we're internally not accepting. So what this feels and sounds like is, we'll notice we might be in an internal argument or conversation with somebody or with a situation. And so it might be, maybe I'm, having a shower in the morning and I'm going, oh my God, like I can't believe that person yesterday said that to me and I can't believe they did that and it's just so wrong and blah, 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 blah. Or I might be like, I can't believe my mum said that and I can't believe she believes that and like, it's so wrong, rah, rah, rah. So that's how I'm not accepting in here. I'm not actually having the argument with her, but it's up here. And what I might notice in my body is that I feel tension and I feel stress and I feel a little uneasy, right? So it's starting to notice that. Or say I'm sitting at dinner with somebody and they're, saying some opinion or they're talking about something and I like really disagree. And I might be sitting at the table, like with my arms crossed, like tapping my foot, like, oh my God, I cannot believe this person is saying that. This is so messed up, like, right? They're so uneducated. Whatever it is, I'm having the fight up here. The non-acceptance is up here. And it's also being felt in my body. So I want to start to notice, when do I do this? When am I getting caught up? And you might notice there are certain people in your life that you do it with a lot, or certain situations. Maybe you're at work and you're sitting in a meeting and you're constantly sitting there going like, oh my God, why is she saying that again? Or why are they doing this again? Or, oh, right? That frustration. And so noticing when we're doing that, catch yourself when you're not accepting things as they are, right? Now, usually these situations happen repeatedly. So most times I see this person, that's how I feel. Every time I go to that meeting, that's how I feel, right? And I might have done some things in the past to try and change it. Maybe I would have said something at the meeting or suggested a different viewpoint or tried to change that person's mind and it didn't work. So here I am going over and over and over it. So catching myself when I'm doing that. As soon as I notice that I'm not accepting, I can then bring an intention. I can remind myself of, okay, why was I going to try and practice radical acceptance around this? That's right, because it causes me a lot of stress. Maybe I'd like to go to dinner with these people and not feel annoyed, right? Maybe that's my goal. So I'm trying to bring some acceptance here. And what I would be saying to myself is, okay, here it is. Trying to accept, trying to accept, trying to accept. Right? And it's almost like a little internal mantra of reminding myself that I'm just trying, right? I'm no saint. I still might be a little frustrated, but I'm trying to radically accept this is just that person's view, or this is just how this meeting goes, or this is just this situation. And I don't want to give that any more energy, right? I might also use my body to help me out. So again, if I'm sitting there with my arms crossed or I'm like all kind of like tensed up, that is a non-accepting stance, right? So what I might do is I might unfold my arms. I might half smile. I might relax my shoulders. I might sit back in my chair. I might not speak so much, or I might lower my tone of voice. All of these things, open up my body language. I might, all of this takes on an attitude of trying to accept, trying to accept, trying to accept. All right. Now, it's not going to be perfect. Certainly the first time, it's really hard to do, but it's these 2 steps. Noticing when I'm not accepting, when I'm in that internal, like, oh, this is so wrong and this is not right and that's not fair and right? Noticing that, pause. Okay, this is what I'm trying to radically accept. It doesn't mean I'm okay with it. I'm still not okay with it. I wish it was different, but it just is the way it is today. And I don't want to give it any more energy, right? I would rather put my energy elsewhere. So, noticing when I'm not accepting, bringing the intention of trying to accept, trying to accept, trying to accept, and using my body to help really embody that wholeheartedly. All right? It sounds simple. It's not. It takes a lot of practice, but like any skill, practice, practice, practice makes perfect. If you want more info about radical acceptance, because it's a pretty detailed topic, drop me a line, right? And, if there's enough people that want more about this, I might put together a more detailed kind of, info package around it and maybe some exercises to help you sort of practice this a little bit more. But let me know how you go. And as always, thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.